6TR, the bright side of Staffordshire for a Friday afternoon. There's to Andy Cooper there, Anything Goes. That is from the new album that comes out later this month, The Layered Effect. And it gives me great pleasure to say hello, because he's on the telephone right now. Hello, Andy, how are you doing?
It's good to be here right now. It sounds good on the radio.
Yeah,
I like hearing that song.
It sounds very good on the radio. And you're in the UK right now.
That's right, I'm down in London. We had a live show last night, so yeah, just trying to keep this doggy and pony show running.
Yeah. So was it a lit show? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Blabbermouth, who was featured on the first single I did, he's this really good Dutch MC. He came over for the show, and we got to do the track, and he did a show, so yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah, so you're obviously from California. What do you think of Europe when it comes to rap?
Oh, it's great, and I think for me, beyond just hip-hop, is there's a long tradition of soul music.
Yeah.
And funk and everything else. And the kind of hip-hop I do is related to that. So I just always feel very comfortable over here. I always have when I was an Ugly Duckling, and whatever else happened, I just like the musical atmosphere, and it's great to be here.
Yeah, hip-hop and rap has been embraced here for decades. It's come across, and we've got some good performers ourselves over here in the UK.
That's right, yeah, absolutely. And a long tradition of good performers. I mean, there's been good UK rappers since the late 80s, so yeah, I mean, it's to me, I don't see it any different anymore. To me, it's international music, so wherever there's a crowd, I want to go there.
We just played a single from The Layered Effect. It's a new album, second album. It comes out later this month.
Yeah, that's right. I'm excited. I've worked hard on it, and I was talking to Blabbermouth yesterday, and when you work on an album, even though it's kind of an antiquated medium at this point, because most people just download a song or two onto their phone,
yeah.
For artists, we put everything we have into it our whole life, the singles, the videos, the artwork. I mean, it means so much to us. So I don't know if like I said, it's even relevant anymore, but for me, it's always been super exciting to have an album.
Yeah, and of course, everyone will know you're listening from Ugly Duckling. So how different is it performing as Andy Cooper and making an album on your own? Well,
performing is really challenging because I have to do all the verses and all the choruses, all the talking.
Yeah.
I realized that when I started doing stuff on my own, that, wow, I got to do 3 times the work. But it's also exciting and it's challenging. And with regard to recording, I was telling somebody the other day that it's a lot harder work on my own, but it takes less time because the collaborative process can be really drawn out, and different opinions, you have to accommodate each other, which is a cool thing. But on my own, I can be very decisive and fast, but I have to like it would make sense to do, but in most of the work. So it's exciting, and I like a challenge, and I like to work.
Yeah, as the one less productive person in Ugly Duckling who takes more time.
Well, I won't single out anybody. I would say I was the one who, and it probably reflects in my putting stuff out and get things going. I was the one who wanted to work the most. I like to work, and I'm a pretty decisive person. Maybe because those guys are more artistically gifted than me. Maybe they have to feel the right atmosphere or vibe or something. But I just want to keep steamrolling ahead because I love working on music, and it's in life there's only so many things you can do well, and for me, I felt like that was one of them. So I just want to do things that I can do.
Good answer. That is a good answer. With those guys, you've been together for like over 25 years. So 25 years is a long time to be doing stuff.
Yeah, it's a family. Sometimes very happy, sometimes dysfunctional, like almost anybody in the band. So by the time you've been in the group for decades, you've gone through every kind of interpersonal situation you could go through, and highs and lows. So when I started doing things on my own, it was a new experience. I'd never really worked outside of the band. So in some ways it was liberating, in some ways it was difficult. But I think in the long term, it's been healthy because there's certain things that only a band can do. There's dynamics that are involved that are unique and special, and I appreciate that. But there's certain freedoms you have on your own. So I feel like with Ugly Duckling, we did everything we could do artistically, and we were just at the end of it, like, what more can we possibly say or do? And until we came up with something new, in the meantime, I was like, well, I'll try some other stuff. That was kind of my approach.
Yeah, yeah. So never say never about doing more things together. It's just that at this time, it was right to just do your own solo stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, never say never. And also, Einstein, he got married and had a baby kind of unexpectedly, so it really avalanched him.
Yeah.
He pretty much his entire life he was looking for records and making beats, and being a husband and father was a very, very a huge occupation for him. So maybe when the storm, I'm not saying a negative thing, it's a tremendous blessing for him, but maybe as that subsides, the kind of full-on stress of an infant, maybe you'll have a little more time for it.
Definitely. Over in the UK, Smack has been featured on everything, including one of the biggest TV shows in the UK is Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway. It was the advert music for that. They like the darlings of Saturday night TV. It's a big track, and you've featured in films and everything like that. Is that something else you want to do with your own music, to be featured on soundtracks and things?
Yeah, and I've done, over the last few years, I've done music, library albums and licensing music for a company called Audio Network. So I've had a lot of stuff in little various background spots and maybe things you've even heard. So that's a field where I'm trying to do better because, as you'll know, selling albums and whatever tracks, it's not the most lucrative business anymore. So music licensing is a big thing. So I'm always trying to learn a little bit more and become a bit more savvy at that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a business now. Like you said earlier, before it was about getting the video right, the album right, the artwork right, and that was something that you got help on. But now you've got to do it all yourself and also work on the other things that you can, make money out of.
Absolutely. And you were playing the track earlier with Abdominal in me, and we're working on that when I did a tour with Format and Abdominal, a few months back, and they had released a new album that was really good. But when I was going back and forth with Abdominal about the song that you heard or played, I was joking like, I'm just killing myself to get this album ready so we can release it. You announce it on Facebook, and then 2 weeks later, everybody's forgotten about it. And we were just joking about that was the stark reality of putting out an album or being in a band, that things move very quickly. There's something new all the time. And, you fade down a news feed somewhere, and that's just the reality you have to accept. And just do it because you love it. And, it'll find some people who will actually go buy the vinyl and will really care about it. But, that's the world we live in.
I was discussing that with a friend the other day, say in the 90s and early 2000s, so, when you were around making music then, you were in magazines, on TV shows, and people were saying, listen to this album, listen to this track. And now, on social media, people will say, listen to this track, or don't listen to this track. You've got that sort of double-edged sword with social media, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe so, but I think the bigger thing is that they'll be, this is the bomb, listen to this today, and tomorrow it'll just be something else, where I feel like 15 years ago, or even further back than that, people sat with things for a while, and things moved a little more slowly, and they shared it. People had cassette tapes, and I just feel like the listener got to settle into a song, got to hear it over and over again, and it became part of their routine. And there's nothing more powerful than something that's interwoven with your life, where something that you hear and you just think is great, but then you're on to the next thing. It doesn't last very long.
No. I heard, I don't want to rubbish the song at all, but I heard a new song from Bruno Mars the other day with Cardi B, and obviously it's got like a 90s feel to it. Have you heard the song?
Yeah, I watched that, and they kind of have a In Living Color, that TV show.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Homage to that in the music video, yeah.
And it sounds a bit like Belle Biv
DeVoe. Yeah, it's a New Jack Swing kind of song, yeah, that's funny. That Bruno Mars, he does a little bit of everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that song obviously is a parody a little bit of like Belle Biv DeVoe in the 90s and everything like that, but I think a lot of music nowadays are taking things in the 90s, but probably wouldn't have been as big if they were out in the 90s. Yeah,
probably right. And I kind of joke for me, like something like that. I didn't really like Belle Biv DeVoe or Joe Public or, some of that stuff. To me, it was kind of goofy back then. Like, hip-hop was sort of against that sort of New Jack Swing and poppy stuff. So, but I was in high school at the time, so when I was watching that music video, I had a smile, like, oh, yeah, that is kind of shirts people used to wear. That's funny. So I kind of see it in the comical way. But as to how serious to take any of that stuff artistically, and I don't know, because it seems more like a marketing ploy than art. Yeah. And it's a clever marketing ploy, and it's well done, and Bruno Mars is exceptionally talented.
Yeah.
But I don't know how serious to take those songs, you know, because they seem kind of more like gimmicks.
Yeah.
Or like Uptown Funk's a really cool song, and if you play it at a wedding, everybody's gonna have a great time. So I'm fine with that. I don't mind that at all, and I think that's great. But is that something that was coming from his soul and his heart? I don't know. That's not my place to say.
Well, the next question is, what are you listening to yourself nowadays?
Well, like I said, I've become a massive fan of Blabbermouth over the last year, and it was such a cool thing to have him on stage with me last night. And he just released a new album called A Flowin' Dutchman, and it's really got that mid-'90s hip-hop sound like the Hooligans or the Rascals, and he is an exceptionally talented vocalist, so I could only recommend him. I can't recommend him more highly. Like, that is, to me, and he's a younger guy, so I don't even understand where he gets this from, but he's a special talent, so I really like that.
Cool. Well, the album is out this month. It's on Rockfort Records. You can be found on Twitter. It's Ear to the Track. That is your handle on Twitter. So, yeah, I encourage people to go and find, and also catch you in the Europe and UK leg of your tour as well. That's for this month. What's your website?
The best way, you can go to eartothetrack.net, but the best way would just be to go to Facebook in the Andy Cooper artist page. It has all the details, and go like me there. And there's a new music video for Can't Be Satisfied. That's a pretty cool video, so yeah, go check all of it out there.
Yeah, we've got to play that right now. My final question is, right, it's the 12th of January. Is it still okay to say Happy New Year, or is that boat sailed?
I'm a big fan of the first week, but there could be some exception if you haven't seen an essential friend during that week, that there could be a kind of a rollover period. But I feel like the 15th after that is a no way, but I like after the 7th to let it go. That's my personal approach.
Sounds good. I think we'll live by that one today, because we've had quite a lot of opinions. People saying it's too late. But thank you very much for coming on. Would you like to introduce the song? We'll play it now.
Yeah, it's a funky little number called Can't Be Satisfied, so check it out.